In this video lesson, we're going to demonstrate a stretching protocol for the soleus. The soleus is one of three muscles in the superficial posterior compartment of the leg. It attaches to the head of the fibula and the proximal shaft of the fibula and something called the soleal line of the tibia. And from there, it runs down distally and contributes along with the gastrocnemius to the calcaneal, also known as the Achilles tendon, to then attach onto the posterior surface of the calcaneus. Now, because the soleus crosses the ankle joint posteriorly, it can do plantar flexion of the foot at the ankle joint. And it crosses slightly on the medial side, so it has a slight component of inversion of the foot at the subtalar joint. It does not cross the knee joint, so it has no joint action at the knee joint. But that actually will end up being very important, because if we simply push the foot up into dorsiflexion, we would theoretically be stretching the soleus, but it's also possible that the gastrocnemius would be stretched and would stop our stretching protocol before the soleus is brought to tension and stretched. So to slacken the gastrocnemius and take it out of the stretch, it's important that we have the client's knee joint in flexion. So I've placed a bolster under her knee joint because the gastrocnemius is a flexor of the knee joint. If we have her passively in flexion here, then the gastrocnemius is slackened. And then when we bring the foot into dorsiflexion, it's much more likely that the stretch will preferentially move over to the soleus. Now, we might say, well, the soleus is also slightly an inverter, so let's add a little bit of eversion of the foot at the subtalar joint, and that would basically make sense, but it's also very likely that if we add very much eversion along with the dorsiflexion, that we will move the stretch to three muscles in the deep posterior compartment called the Tom, Dick, and Harry muscles: tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and flexor hallucis longus. And because they're more active with inversion, they may get more stretch with the eversion, and they may stop the excursion of movement for the stretch, and we might lose the stretch for the soleus. So the optimal stretch position for the soleus is to have the knee joint in flexion, enough flexion so that we slacken the gastrocnemius. A larger bolster might even be advisable for some people. And then we simply bring the foot up into dorsiflexion. And that is our stretching protocol for the soleus.